Okay, now the time is now 5:42, and I'd like to call the policy committee meeting to order.
I move that we call the meeting to order.
Okay. I second. 2-0. I moving on to item 2.0, adoption of the agenda. Have you been able to view the agenda?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Seeking a motion.
I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
I second. Roll call. Ms. President Briggs.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. 2-0. Moving on to 3.0, approval of the minutes. Were you able to view the draft of the December 3rd, 2019 meeting minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Chair seeking a motion.
I move that we adopt the minutes from the December meeting.
Okay. I second. President Briggs.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 2-0. Moving on to agenda item 4.0, discussion items, policy EBBA discussion. I brought this to discussion because I wanted to discuss the possibility of, I know that we had chosen not to accept the recommendations of the MSBA regarding this policy when it came to naproxen. I have done some research regarding, I've talked to nurses and briefly got a chance to talk to Dr. Cargile and Carla, and what I was saying was one of the issues that I had seen that has become pretty popular was the fact that marijuana or cannabis being laced or with fentanyl. Although it's not something that we've seen or had to deal with in our district, I wanted to be sure that we're cognizant of that, as well as I had just kind of reviewed with Carla and Dr. Cargile why we had voted on it, and even looking at the minutes from our last meeting, looking to possibly adopt the language, and just wanting to bring it to the members of this committee as well as the board to possibly just bring that to their attention if they so choose to during their second reading.
Yeah, I'm in favor of revisiting that policy and bringing the revisions to the full board during their second reading,
Okay.
based on the most recent information received from some medical professionals.
Okay. Then we don't really need a motion because we are going through the second reading. It's just a topic in which I wanted to kind of bring to this committee, and if you are good with this discussion item, I'll move on to 5.0.
Yes, I'm good with it.
Let me say it's not EBBA.
For
Yes.
clarification,
Oh,
it's not EBBA.
Okay, so
So we need to figure out which policy
I'm trying
that
to
one
figure
is. I
out
was
now.
trying to look it up now.
sorry, yeah, I may have pulled the wrong policy because I didn't see it in the policy either when I
I
read
think
it.
it's
Oh, that was your
JHCD.
intent for the EBBA,
Yeah.
but you wanted the one that included
Yeah.
naproxen.
Mhm.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
think
has no-
I think it's JHCD, but let me go back and.
So before we move on, we'll verify the correct policy to make sure that it's in the record.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
And would it be considered a first reading since it didn't go before the whole board? It only went before the policy and it wasn't presented on the board.
Yeah, that one would be.
That would
because
be
it
a
was
first
not
reading, yeah.
Yes.
presented.
for us to add it to the agenda? Or even for us to recommend it to be added to the agenda?
Yeah, I think it's fine to make a recommendation for it to come from this committee to
Okay.
the full board for consideration
I would-
as a first reading.
Okay.
Figure out which one it is.
So what I will do is wait for, us to be able to find the correct policy, and then I will request a motion for it to be, brought for first reading to, the full board.
Yeah, it's actually EBBA AP1, it's the administrative procedure
Okay,
for EBBA, so it's EBBA AP1.
AP1. So, the chair is seeking a motion for the recommendation of EBBA-AP1, to be brought for first reading to the full board.
I move that we accept the chair's recommendation to bring, that stated policy to the board for the first reading?
Yes,
Yeah, for the first reading.
I second. If there is no more discussion, President Briggs,
Aye.
chair votes aye, 2-0. All right, moving on to 5.0, future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items to go to the Board of Education?
No, I just want to, I don't have any policy items, I would just kind of like to make a suggestion. I mean, you can get together to see if there's any policies that we need to, bring up for the board, but when we get to discussion, I just have something on the discussion piece of the agenda.
Okay, so the discussion at the open session, is that what you're saying?
No discussion at the end of this, before we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, so, then moving on to 6.0, future meeting dates. Facility committee meeting meets January 9th, 2020 at 5:30. Education Accountability Committee meets at January 13th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Financial Committee meeting January 14th, 2020 at 5:30. And the regular session board meeting meets January 16th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, the only comment that I may have is that for the education committee meeting, we may need an alternate. I'm not sure, but just wanted to bring it up, in this meeting, in advance in case we may need an alternate board member to participate, during the educational accountability meeting.
Okay. President, I'll be willing to participate if you or to be considered as a board member that will be willing to participate if needed.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you for accommodating the board in its work. So I'll let you know if we need you to sub in well enough time for the education accountability.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much.
No problem. So the time is now 5:51 and this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
All right, take care.